We just got back from our 12-day road trip in the Pacific Northwest, and we're gonna tell you everything we would do and wouldn't do again. And we didn't want to drive from Minnesota to Oregon, so we flew to Oregon and rented our car from there. And then we drove right to Cannon Beach, and I would definitely do Cannon Beach again. Also made a point to stop at Ecola State Park, which I thought was one of the most beautiful state parks that I had ever been to. And I would definitely go there again.
Yeah, those were seen for sure, driving in and seeing some good views.
We drove from there to Ocean Shores, Washington, and that was fine, but I would probably skip Ocean Shores and drive to the other side of Olympic near Port Angeles, where there's easier access into Olympic National Park and just more places to stay, more restaurants, more coffee shops. And it's a beautiful area around the Port Angeles area. We also stayed in Seattle, and we both agree that we would skip Seattle and spend more time in Olympic National Park. But Seattle, I'm just not a city person, so Seattle's not for me. And Leavenworth was my favorite stop on our trip. I would absolutely go back to Leavenworth. I would love to check it out in the winter because they deck it out for Christmas. And it's a little Bavarian town. Kind of looks like a little piece of Germany, but it's surrounded by mountains, and it's just lovely.
Yeah, we while we were there, we went for a little walk in the local park there, and there was it was just like a city park, and there was a little mama bear and her little 2 cubs. Freaked out Melissa, and she ran away.
Yes, I did. Well, I sped walked away. I didn't run. Would do next time is spend more time in Vancouver, Canada, which was our last stop on our trip. And I only gave us about a day and a half to be there. I had no idea how large Vancouver was. Also took a water taxi over to the Granville Island Market. That was probably my second favorite part of our whole trip. I really loved the Granville Island Market. The water taxi is super easy to find and navigate. And it was probably like $15 for a round trip to get to the island and back.
For both of us.
For both of us, yeah. For 2 people, so it wasn't bad. We also went to the Capilano Suspension Bridge Park.
Oh, that was really cool.
That was cool, but I was not prepared for how much it would feel like a workout. Just wear comfortable clothes. Like, I wish I would have worn like exercise clothes versus like I wore denim and a tank top. I wish I would have wore something a little more comfortable.
I felt like I was on the forest moon of Endor walking through the trees.
Yeah. One thing we need to talk about is Mount Rainier.
What about it?
Well, how beautiful it was.
Oh yeah,
for one.
Absolutely beautiful.
And that was another one that I had no idea how large the park itself was. So we probably could have used a couple days worth of exploring Mount Rainier if we only had one.
Bring some snacks, bring some water in your car, because you might be sitting in the car for a little bit.
Bring hand sanitizer because you might have to use the pit toilets.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You really want hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Because the queue is so long, they have like outhouses kind of like along the queue, and people were jumping out of their cars, using them, and then jumping back in. Another
cool stop was the Hoh Rainforest in Olympic National Park.
That was really cool.
Which is also, they have the queue line to get in. When we lucked out, we only had to wait an hour to get into the Hoh Rainforest. And once you get in, you can see why, because they have very limited they have one parking lot. Once you get in, it's worth being there.
Which personally, I kind of prefer the whole queue method over like have 1,000 people fighting over like 10 parking spots. Did you enjoy the whale watching? We did do whale watching.
Oh, we went to the Puget Sound. The Puget Sound in Edmonds, Seattle, to do whale watching, and that was really cool. We saw 4 different types of whales. 3 or 4. That costed us about $350, but it was like a 4-hour boat tour. So I think we got our money's worth for everything we saw. I don't feel like we overpaid. I think it was worth it.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed the Pacific Northwest myself, but we've also been to Alaska a few years ago, and from my point of view, I almost liked Alaska a little bit better. The mountains are bigger. It's less crowded.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, like
stunning.
Never ran into traffic. Never ran into any kind of queues in Alaska. But it is bigger. It's a much bigger state, so it takes further drive between different locations. But yeah, if personally, if someone was deciding between Alaska or the Pacific Northwest, I'd say go to Alaska. But I do not regret going to the Pacific Northwest either.
So that's our Pacific Northwest road trip. Hope this helps.